It is Wednesday, August 19th, 2020. It is 8 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, and so you know what time it is. It's time for a little bit of CoinMetal. And it was yet another non-virtual get your ass kicked by Jiu-Jitsu. Or no, actually at Jiu-Jitsu. I got my ass kicked at Jiu-Jitsu today. Wednesday. And yeah, it was very interesting. We were doing a little bit of a progression off of some stuff that we had done last week, my partner and I. And I had to tell you, I have a lot of trouble getting my feet up to my shoulders, and I know that's a bit of an impediment in the 10th planet system, especially given the concentration on things like rubber guard. And so we were doing a progression today from a full guard position to breaking our opponent's posture and assuming getting it to a omoplata type situation, and then taking that all the way over, taking it to the full mount, and then an armbar from the top. And we'd done this progression before, but it was something where we took it a little bit differently in the way that we approached it. You know, we basically took every section of it, every little movement of it, and we broke it all down. We broke that section down again and went over it step by step of the progression. And I felt that it was very constructive. There was a lot of things that I felt that I'm still doing wrong. I mean, I need another year or two of reps for that one to start flowing worth a damn. But yeah, I did feel like I was kind of getting it. One thing I was doing that kind of helped a little bit is I had some trouble transitioning from the part where I've got my it's almost like a triangle setup where you've got your leg wrapped around their back basically, and you've got your say your right hand with your palm up around your ankle. You know, you got your hand with your palm up, but you've got your ankle in your hand, and you got your forearm draped over their shoulder and really kind of pushing it into that collarbone area. And so I was able to get to there pretty easily, but the next part is kind of difficult for me, where I'm transitioning it over to a gable grip from there, you know, behind their back still. And then after a gable grip, sneaking my elbow over their head, and then pushing on their head, their face, basically, to get them away from me far enough for me to get my foot hooked under their neck, and then take that to the omoplata position, and then from there flipping them over, and then doing a high guard or a high mount rather, and then a little armbar situation. But the part that I had the most trouble with was that transition of getting my elbow around my opponent's head. And one of the things that I did that seemed to help it a little bit, and I don't know if it was because I just had the wrong hand on the bottom and the wrong hand on the top or something, I don't know. But I found that I was able to get a grip and had enough room to work with it if I did an S grip. And between the S grip on the back, or across the back, with my leg in there, and using my other foot to kind of balance on their hip, it was a little bit easier for me to keep it in there, you know, keep it locked. And so I would just drive down with my elbow until it's touching the ground, and then start pushing away with the elbow, bring my right foot up, and so on and so forth. But yeah, I enjoyed that quite a bit. And I think that I have a pretty efficient way for getting to the mount from there. Like, one thing that wasn't in the set of instructions that I like to do, is after they've Granby rolled over their shoulder to get flat on their back, you grab their hand by or you grab their arm by the wrist, and you trap it under your thigh, and that way they can't really roll into you because you got them trapped there. They can't roll away from you. Got them trapped there, and so you just keep a hold of that wrist until you're able to kick the leg over their hips. You know, so say they're bringing their knees up, stab that knee right across their gut, basically, and just slice the legs down with your shin. And we did a little bit of pass keep, and I gotta say, I'm really feeling the effects of not rolling. And I've got to dedicate a little more time to actually sparring, because we did pass keep, and I had a bitch of a time trying to retain my guard, but passing I was okay. And you know, so as long as I was like standing and trying to pass the guard, I was able to pass the guard with some success. But if I was defending, I had a whole lot of trouble, and so that's telling me that I definitely need to work it more. You know, keep the elbows near the knees, that kind of thing. But yeah, so all in all, I feel like it was a productive class, and I can't wait to get back there on Friday. Anyway, let's go ahead and throw down with some music. And you know we're gonna, yeah, my apologies there. You know we're gonna start with Body Count, and I want to go with something off of Carnivore. And so, yeah, let's go for it. Bum Rush, First Dance, here on CoinMetal. And that is Static X with UMI. And so, as far as what we're going to get into today, I've got a few things lined up, a few tabs on the old browser. And, yeah, so let's get into it. The first thing I wanted to cover is kind of hilarious to me, really. Those of you who listen to this show regularly know that I do not like stablecoins. I do not like Tether. I think that it is a scam, and that eventually it's probably going to cost a lot of people a lot of money. And it seems like they keep hopping from one network to another. You know, as soon as the fees get too high on one, they switch over to another one. They contaminate another fucking network. And I think that ultimately it's going to be this kind of drive to use cryptocurrency networks somewhat like an internet network. You know, like it's it's something you can communicate shit from point A to point B with and whatnot. But the problem with that is that the transactions on these cryptocurrency chains require transaction fees, meaning it costs money. And this is an association with packets that, although it may exist on some level, is not typically communicated to the end user in an explicit form. You know, I mean, ultimately, I'm sure that there is a cost for each packet that's transmitted across the internet. However, it's not explicitly stated that, oh, this is going to be fucking 3 cents per transaction or some shit like that. And I think that's a difference that's lost on a lot of people, that these networks do require transaction fees. And so if you can associate a monetary fee with every single packet of that you transact on the internet, you know, just bringing up a web page on your monitor is going to cost you money. And currently it does cost money, but it's offset in a number of ways. ISP fees, ad revenue. And so personally, I think that trying to monetize people's very use of like their email and shit like that, I think it's fucking bullshit. It's absolutely the wrong way to be going with this technology. The fact of the matter is that, I was looking at a conversation here. Let me see if I can bring that up. Here we go. So I was having this conversation on in the Verge Currency channel on Discord, and this thing. So I've had multiple battles over the years, and one of these days I want to download all my Twitter stuff so I can publish it somewhere else and everybody can see all of the interactions that I've had with people over Bitcoin. And one of the things has been that I believe that the way for Bitcoin to quote unquote scale is for the scaling of it to be properly monetized. Meaning that we should be processing bigger than 1 megabyte blocks. Bigger blocks equals more transactions equals lower transaction fees. It's very, very simple. But see, one of the big concerns that people are, these quote-unquote small blockers have harped on is this idea that storage isn't going to get any cheaper. It's like they think that storage is going to stay really, really expensive. Well, here, I'm talking to this guy, or girl, I'm not sure, Luffy Swen. I think guy, Swen. He says, my first SSD I paid $400 for. My response was, but I thought Moore's Law is bullshit and storage capacity is always going to be so expensive that people won't invest in a decent size HD to run a node/mine. How much is that one? Luffy Swen says 512 gigabytes back then, 850 Pro Samsung when it came out. Going to upgrade this baby, and the Samsung one is still doing very good. Then I will still have 900 gigabyte SSD storage remaining. And for games and so on, I also bought a USB 3.2 Gen 2 casing for using M.2 drives externally. Pretty sick also, that IC box. And anyway, the point being that this person is investing in a PCIe Gen 4 SSD. And I mean, that, and it's 1 terabyte. That's just incredible. To me anyway. But when you look at it in that way, and you understand that basically the way they make these SSDs is they take basically a brick of RAM die and stuff them all together, and I think they use like second run RAM die, meaning that if the wafer passes at like, I want to say it's like 80% or 86% or something or higher, but it doesn't make 95%, then they won't use it in typical RAM. If it doesn't hit 95%, they won't use it in RAM. But what they will do is they'll go back through the wafer maps and they'll find the best die off of the wafer, and they will make SSDs out of them, or SSD drives, yeah. And so, I used to work at a RAM die place, a place that made RAM die, and so I have that little bit of information. But to me, it seems like I don't know. There was something previously in the pipeline that demanded for better RAM and faster RAM, and basically the RAM market, the improvements that they made in RAM outstripped the market, and so now it's just getting cheaper and cheaper and faster and faster and cheaper and cheaper and faster and faster. And plus, I think that that mining has had something to do with the increased rate of change or improvement rather of hardware. I mean, we're looking at 3.2 Gen USB. I mean, shit, I don't think I have anything around here that's got anything higher than a 3.1. And even then, I don't even think 3.1 was like, 2, maybe 3 years where it was the used standard, and now they've progressed to USB 3.2 or Gen 2. So, it's just interesting that the progression is going that quickly. And I think that kind of progression is going to make the idea of keeping the blocks small less and less appealing. Because then all you really have to worry about is network speed. And that, again, can be improved. But anyway, I was trying to find this specific article. And I'll start with this one because it's on the same thrust. Basically, it's the reason for this migration. And so this is on CoinDesk.com. High Ethereum fees push Tether to its 8th blockchain, OMG network. And so this is authored on August 19th, 2020 at 21:33 UTC. And this is by William Foxley. So yes, penis. Tether has adopted Ethereum scaling solution OMG network amidst record demand for settlement space on the, quote, world computer. The integration between Tether and OMG network will result in a reduction of confirmation times, delivering faster payments, while fees will be reduced without compromising on-chain security, Tether Inc. said in a blog on Wednesday. We're going to click on that. OMG network can handle thousands of transactions at a third of the cost of Ethereum as a layer 2 solution for Ethereum that batches transactions before settlement. OMG network CEO Vansa Chetakavanage said in a statement, Tether, now the third largest cryptocurrency with a market capitalization of $13.1 billion, has become the token of choice for traders. It scores in the top 3 Ethereum, quote, gas guzzlers consistently, according to ETH Gas Station. Adjacently, the cost to transact on Ethereum has grown in near lockstep with the rise of decentralized finance applications, dApps, such as Uniswap and Compound. Ethereum fees on the rise. High growth in both stablecoins and DeFi usage has had adverse results for Ethereum, which settles transactions for both finance applications. Indeed, on August 13th, the average transaction fee on Ethereum broke all-time highs last set during the 2017 initial coin offering boom. Quote, by migrating USDT value transfers to the OMG network, we save costs, drive performance improvements, and relieve pressure on the root chain network, Tether's CTO Pao Ardoino said in a statement. Quote, this is good for Bitfinex and our customers and the whole Ethereum ecosystem. Oh god, that's funny. Tether issuance can be found on other blockchains, including but not limited to Omni, Liquid, and Tron. And Bitcoin and Ethereum. OMG network will also be used for withdrawals and deposits on Tether Inc.'s sister firm Bitfinex, the blog states. Batching Ethereum transactions on secondary layers, as OMG network does, has become the preferred solution to scale the network. How to do so remains challenging from a technical perspective, however. For example, Reddit announced a partnership with the Ethereum Foundation in June to whiteboard possible solutions, such as batching transactions for its native token. Yeah, I think this is really funny because Ethereum's demand, it's funny to me because Vitalik is very, very smart. Very smart. Incredibly smart. So smart that he could foresee that the proliferation of dApps and other stuff like that on the Ethereum network, or doing their transactions via the Ethereum network, would congest the network. It would cause the necessity for things like sharding and proof of stake. However, the network's unwillingness to transition to Ethereum 2, and as a matter of fact, I haven't checked into that recently. It seems like that's something that maybe it's happened already, and I just wasn't notified or something like that. But you would think it would be like all over the place if Ethereum 2 had a real big launch. And let's see here. Here we go. And we're going to go into this one too. Okay. So the next one I got up, it's exactly about that, and this was 2 days ago. This on Cointelegraph, and it's by Marie Hewlett. Vitalik Buterin, Ethereum 2.0 presents a much harder challenge than we thought. Vitalik Buterin says it's likely some Ethereum applications may fail, while others succeed, but he accepts it as integral to how the project as a whole will move forward. And Ethereum co-founder Vitalik Buterin said he would, quote, freely admit that Ethereum 2.0 is, quote, much harder to implement from a technical perspective than he had expected. Buterin made his remarks during a debate with Bitcoin maximalist Samson Mow on Peter McCormick's podcast on August 16th. During the debate, the trio discussed the reasons for the, quote, open warfare between the Bitcoin and Ethereum networks and whether the latter will be able to deliver on its many promises. McCormick, who is self-avowedly, quote, not far off from a Bitcoin maximalist position, asked Buterin, quote, do you ever feel like Ethereum has become a much more challenging project or idea than you originally envisaged, and potentially you've bitten off more than you can chew, and that it gets to the point where there is no turning back? Quote, I definitely freely admit that Ethereum 2.0 is much harder than we had expected to implement from a technical perspective, Buterin said. He continued, quote, I definitely don't think that we discovered any fundamental flaws that make it impossible, and I do think it will be finished. It's just a matter of time, and it's actually been progressing quite quickly lately. Speaking candidly about how he expects the project to develop, Buterin added that it's likely some Ethereum applications will fail, while others succeed. But he sees these ebbs and flows in the project's multiple aspects as being independent of each other. Quote, if Ethereum tries to get into one space and it turns out it's actually not useful for that space, then fine, those applications will not go anywhere. Meanwhile, the other sectors will keep going, he said. Earlier in the podcast, Samson now criticized Ethereum proponents for purportedly shifting the narrative around the project's ambitions and goals, arguing that, quote, it's okay to pivot and evolve, but there needs to be a healthy disclaimer that this thing is experimental. Mao continued to claim that, quote, a lot of Ethereum people are seeing Ethereum as money now, and whatnot, and now it's competing with Bitcoin. Even I'm not sure what Ethereum is, or what it does, or what it competes with. Is it a world computer, or is it money? Responding to this, Buterin hit back strongly against the notion that Ethereum is reducible to money, and said that non-financial applications have been an integral part of the project since its beginning. Quote, I definitely did not initiate the whole Ether is money thing. The Ethereum Foundation did not initiate it. That's something that really did come from the outside. Fuck it, I'll claim it. Ethereum is money. That was me, by the way, not Vitalik Buterin. You know, Ethereum is just like Bitcoin in that it's a product of what we mine. Meaning that the Bitcoin network, as much as I bitch about it or whatever, is what the miners are currently mining. Now, if the miners decided at some point in the future that they wanted to do an implementation that was not approved by the Bitcoin Foundation or any other organization on the planet, they could do it. And there isn't a force on the fucking planet that can stop them. You know, the UASF bullshit is exactly that. You know, the idea that you can control what transactions people will do or what formats people will transact in, by which transactions that you yourself are willing to propagate across the network, is complete bullshit. You still need miners that are willing to mine those transactions. And that's the fact of the network. You know, at the time of the last shakeup of Bitcoin, where there were a significant number of miners that wanted to mine bigger blocks, and the UASF happened, there were also a significant number of miners that were supporting SegWit. And that's the only reason they won out. If they did not have that support, they would not have been able to win. But they got it. And good for them. Okay? Something to understand about that, though, is that it's not actually concrete. Bitcoin is a product of what we use, and it is a product of what we will mine. And Ethereum is the same way. As a matter of fact, every single project in the entire cryptosphere is the same way. That the coin itself, the network itself, is a product of us. It's how we decide to mine. It's how somebody decided to invest their hardware, their software, and their bandwidth, and their time and their effort and all that. But it's what somebody was willing to put a stake behind, a real stake, not fucking some staking coin, not some proof of stake. Actual hardware, actual network capacity that was dedicated, that is being dedicated to a project. And that's how it's always going to be. And it's one of the reasons why they're better than any kind of centralized solution. Because a centralized solution is, I own 10,000 computers and I distribute them in such a way that I'm covering the entire planet, low hops. I set the rules. I have the copies on all my hard drives on those 10,000 computers. And so I'm able to support all kinds of transactions very efficiently, no problem. Got plenty of storage capacity, got plenty of transmission capacity, all that. It's wonderful, right? But it's just me. And I've got to tend all 10,000 of those computers. Or I've got to hire somebody to do it. And I've got to trust that somebody isn't going to be actively looking for exploits, not bothering to telling me about them or anyone else on the network, and exploiting them for their own selfish purposes. I mean, if we just look at legitimate coins such as Bitcoin or Ethereum, we find instance after instance after instance of people taking official computers from government functions and dedicating them to mining. As a matter of fact, I read some fucking article the other day about it's like prohibited to mine on the Marine Corps' hardware. They've like explicitly stated that. They had to set a rule for that. And I'll tell you right now, it's going to be a very short-lived rule. Because soon enough, people are going to be looking around for money. Everybody going to be looking around for some sort of liquidity that they can pay to keep the lights on. And so I think a lot of the jerk off, a lot of these dApps and shit, I think that a lot of them are going to go away. You know, the second layer solutions, I think the incentive to crack them and exploit them will become high enough that they will no longer be a viable option for anybody. And I believe that there's going to be enough attacks, enough hashing power actively attacking networks, i.e. 51% attacks, and people trying to fork projects. I mean, shit, on Monday we covered a project that got launched right out from under the devs. Somebody just copy and pasted the code and just fucking ran it. That is the world you live in here in crypto. And if you don't approach it with that perspective, you will get fucking wrecked. You know, it's like everybody points to Vitalik and like he's, you know, some big commander of everything here. But I can guarantee you this. He's probably got a code efficient variant of Ethereum 2.0. He's got it running stable. He's had it running stable for 3 fucking years on his own little test net. And he can't get people to implement it. He can't get enough people to implement it for it to take off and become the dominant network. But they've been trying to get their whole network to just say, okay, we're going to do POS now and fork the coin and like have like 2 or 3 underlying coins and some basis in POW. And don't ask me to explain it. I don't understand it myself. And at some point we might actually go back and read the white paper. I mean, I think when I read the white paper and I understood like what they had in mind as far as their ambitions of supporting all kinds of little dApps and shit. I mean, that was always part of their roadmap. But I think I said it at the time that it would end up being nothing but a scam platform, or that would be the majority use for it. That there would be some legitimate projects, but just enough legitimate projects to draw people into getting wrecked on complete and total scams. And now this is not to suggest that it would make it anything different than any other cryptocurrency project, because there is that element in every single one of them. It's like it's a competing force vying for the dominance of the network. And you've got to accept that. You're playing with other people. You're going to have to follow some people in some cases if you want to continue to maintain profitability, and in other cases you're going to have to draw the fucking line in the sand and say, no, I'm not going to run that implementation on my hardware. And you might even want to collaborate with other miners if that's your level of interest. But personally, I believe that a lot more of us, a much higher percentage of us in the cryptocurrency space should be mining. And I don't mean getting fucking space on an AWS instance. I mean dedicating some fucking hardware to supporting one of these networks. Any network. I don't give a fuck if it's Bitcoin. I don't care if it's Ethereum Classic, Litecoin, Monero. I don't care. Find one that you can support and dedicate some hardware to it. Because that's the only thing that's going to keep any of these networks alive, is a diversity of users who are willing to sacrifice a little bit of electricity and the use of some hardware and maybe a little bit of bandwidth off of their home computer network and whatever, and support one of these fucking projects. You know, all this, we can do layer 2 scaling. No. That's not the way to scale. Not a consensus network. Scaling it that way will turn it into nothing but Visa. Ultimately, you're going to end up with maybe 2 pools, and like 70% of both pools will be owned by one entity in one way, shape, or form, and they will implement their own EIPs or BIPs or whatever the IPs as they see fit. Now, the counter to that is the other people that are interested in, i.e. devs, i.e. users, people like you and me, getting online, dedicating some hardware to a network. And like I said, I believe that's the eventual progression of all these coins. I think that a lot of this shit like Layer 2 and dApps and all that, yeah, sure. There might be some interesting uses for them, and that's cool and all, but I don't believe that that's the intended function of peer-to-peer cryptocurrencies. I believe it's commerce. And I believe that use case overall is going to win out. Utility tokens and futility tokens. That's what I call them. ICOs. Yeah, you're dumping money in somebody else's wallet and hoping that they don't run off with it. All of the yield farming. There might be some profit in it. But again, you're trusting that some large entity that's involved in either the coding of it and or is supporting the network for it or whatever, you're relying, you're trusting that at some point in the future they won't utilize some exploit that they've factored in intentionally, or worse yet, that somebody else could find the fucking exploit before they do and uses it. You know, most likely one of the members of the dev team. Either current or former. We've seen that happen before too. But I think ultimately over the next probably year or two, that we're going to have a significant, at least one really significant hack that costs people billions of dollars. And it'll probably be a stablecoin project or one of these DeFi projects. I mean, because they're following that pattern of ICOs where people just irrationally throw hundreds of millions of dollars at them, and they're all pursuing a little bit of profit. And while Ethereum is going up in relative value, they'll probably see some profit. But if at any point the legacy markets, for whatever reason, they start picking up, we're going to see some money change out of crypto and go back into legacy markets. And when that happens, again, I think projects are going to get a lot more serious about what exactly they're here for, why they even exist. But the discussion isn't anything like what they've been putting up with having like Vitalik Buterin talk to Samson Mow. Fuck that. It's 2 people out of 9 billion. These are consensus networks. They are not dictatorships. 2 people do not represent 9 billion. Or 7 to 9 billion. Or whatever the fucking number is of human beings on this planet. There are only there's some percentage of those humans who currently do not have the capability, but I include them in the discussion because there is always the possibility that tomorrow they may. Tomorrow they might be interested. Tomorrow they might have a capability that they didn't have today. They might buy a computer. They might get internet access out to where they were. Where I live now. About 2 decades ago, we were on dial-up still. Or, I don't know, I think we transitioned to high-speed internet, I want to say, by 2004 or 2005. But, all my friends in town, they had high-speed internet. Well, not me, though. I was out here in this piddly-ass fucking 24K or 26. I think it was 26. I'm not sure. No, 56. There we go. But my baud rate was just appalling. Just utterly appalling. But, having seen that change myself, when I hear the small blocker arguments about things like network congestion and shit, like, and just blow it off. Because I've watched. I've been here since, I've been online since like 95, 96. I've watched computers get faster and faster. Shit, my cell phone has more power than my, and I mean, it's a fucking flip phone. It has more power than my original desktop did. It's capable of shit that desktop was not capable of. And so that tells me that shit advances over time. And so the idea that we're always going to be constrained the way that we are with network speeds and stuff, it's fucking silliness. You even hear somebody mention it, just start laughing, man. Just the biggest fucking belly laugh that you can manage. Anyway, let's go ahead and throw back down with some music. And as far as where to go next, I think we played some... No, we did not. No, we did. No, we didn't. I was considering playing this song, but I don't think I actually did during the last music break, so we're going to go for it. A little bit of Sixth here. Century of the Narcissist, here on CoinMetal. And that was Amon Amarth with Crack the Sky. And so, as far as where we're going next, I wanted to continue on from what we were talking about earlier here. And I got this thing, it's on Tether's blog. Tether USDT integration live on OMG network. Tether, the blockchain-enabled platform that powers the largest stablecoin by market capitalization, and OMG Network, a trustless, non-custodial Layer 2 scaling solution for transferring value of Ethereum, have today announced USDT is live on the value transfer layer. USDT holders will obtain the benefits of transacting on the OMG network, which is built to reduce Ethereum congestion and gas fees with improved transaction speeds. The integration will result in a reduction of confirmation times, delivering faster payments, while fees will be reduced without compromising on-chain security. That's bullshit. At Tether, we are committed to driving innovation and improvements to our service to better support our customers, Paul Ardoino, CTO at Tether. By migrating USDT value transfers to the OMG network, we save costs, drive performance improvements, and relieve pressure on the root chain network. This is good for Bitfinex and our customers and the whole Ethereum ecosystem. No, it isn't. Quote, today we are excited to announce the launch of Tether on the OMG network that supports thousands of transactions per second at a third of the cost of the same transactions on Ethereum, said Vansa Chatnavachi, CEO at OMG Network. Quote, we are delighted to address these fundamental issues and drive further growth and adoption of open financial services. The OMG network will also facilitate USDT deposits and withdrawals at Bitfinex. Quote, this will allow traders to react faster to trading opportunities and to take advantage of arbitrage more efficiently between exchanges as the network grows, said Ardoino. The Ethereum blockchain is a valuable but limited resource, which under heavy demand is vulnerable to severe network congestion. As each block has only a finite space available to users, total transaction throughput is capped at approximately 12 transactions per second. When when transaction demand exceeds 12 transactions per second, settlement times increase and gas costs can rise significantly. One such extreme congestion event occurred in March this year when the price of Ethereum crashed from $240 to $107, liquidating more than $10 billion from the market. The huge spike in demand from users looking to trade in response to the volatile price swings resulted in average network waiting times rising from 15 seconds to 44 minutes. The OMG network is a platform that enables peer-to-peer transactions in real time by scaling the network. And both of those things are lies! Fucking lies! OMG's more viable plasma solution batches numerous transactions in one block and charges one predictable low-cost fee, allowing traders to react faster to trading opportunities and more efficiently arbitrage between exchanges as the network grows. Bullshit. 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 Bullshit point number one. That this is a quote-unquote scaling solution. It reduces their gas fees for them to batch several transactions into one transaction, but what it also does is it reduces the amount that the miners get paid in block rewards and fees. Because of this, it lowers their profitability. It lowers the incentive to mine Ethereum. And while this at this point might actually be something that Vitalik wants to incentivize, just to push forward that proof of stake bullshit, I think whatever haste is pushed upon the network will result in a backlash, and mostly resulting in a lack of confidence. And so where they're having congestion issues at this point, they will only exacerbate them by driving more of their network off chain. And so, and the other thing, again, line number 2, that these are instantaneous transactions. They are not instantaneous transactions. Are not. I don't give a fuck if you're talking about plasma. I don't give a fuck if you're talking about liquid. I don't give a fuck if you're talking about Lightning Network. These are not instantaneous transactions. While the ownership of the coins in question changes on these small networks or smaller networks, what doesn't change is block time. Yeah, that's right. Your transaction is still limited by the block time of the network. So anybody claiming that this bullshit is real time, full of shit. Full of shit. It is not instantaneous. There's always the block time. It doesn't matter whether we're talking about some piggybacked bullshit like OMG. It doesn't matter if we're talking about Lightning Network. None of these things matter. If it's a transaction that is to happen on one of these networks, it is confined by the block time to when the transactions can take place. And so, if the Ethereum network experienced significant block congestion on their network or transaction congestion on their network, so does OMG, because OMG does their transactions on the Ethereum network. So you don't actually escape the issues that they're suggesting that you can escape by doing things off-chain. Third lie. Let's see, where's about numerous transactions on one block and charges one predictable low-cost fee. Complete and utter bullshit. There is no such thing as a predictable low-cost fee. If there were, Ethereum transactions would not go up to $20 for fucking transaction fee. But it does happen. And OMG is going to pay those fucking fees just like you are. You know, or any of the transactions that are happening on the OMG network are going to be experiencing these fees too. You know, so again, these are basically, it's bullshit. It's just bullshit. You know, you would like to believe them, I would like to believe them, but it's a lie. And it is really a shame that they have to revert to such deception. But you know what? These are the same people that told us at one time, told the world at one time, that Tether was 100% backed. 100% backed on a 1-to-1 basis with US dollars in a bank account. US dollars in a bank account. Not US dollars people owe us. Not assets valued in US dollars that are owed to us. 1-to-1, we've got it in a fucking bank account. If we've got it in circulation, we've got $1 in a bank account that it represents. That was the guarantee. That was the selling point for Tether. That's why they could claim it was a quote-unquote stable coin. Because at any time, if everybody in the world decided that they wanted to liquidate their USDT, that Tether and iFinex would be good for it. 1-to-1. Since then, they've drifted from that. And there has never been an audit of their US dollar holdings. However, it's risen, supposedly, in market cap value of $13 billion. That was with a B. Typically, if it's worth over $10 billion, the SEC is up its ass with both hands to make sure that they are 100% regulatory compliant. Well, obviously, Tether is getting away with not being that. And of course, it's probably due to their associations with several interested parties from, say, Goldman Sachs or JP Morgan or whatever that are, that are funding them, that want them to exist. You know, if it was my project, I'd probably have SEC agents right now, CFTC agents right now, is at my door. OCC agents at my door right now. Hey, you can't be making US dollars, man. But Tether, not Tether. No, they get away with it. They are getting away with counterfeiting US dollars. And so a lot of other people think they can get away with it too. Goldman Sachs is in it. And they've been up in it for shit. 2 years now? 2, maybe 3 years. When the stablecoin boom started, they were part of that. You know, and it's one of the aspects of crypto that makes me laugh. It's, so many people talk about, when institutional money... Fuck you, institutional money. Legacy institutions own like 3 of the fucking stable coins out there. Own parts of multiple other projects out there. Own several companies out there that are involved in cryptocurrency. So the idea that there's, some significant amount of fucking institutional money that is interested in crypto but isn't already doing it, it's a bunch of bullshit. Utter bullshit. So anyway, I did want to go a little bit further with this. I'm trying to find it. No, it's not there. We covered this one. The next one, Tether.io. I don't want to go to Tether.io. Oh, whatever. Here we go. And this is a little bit of what we've been talking about with regard to the Ethereum network proper. And this is the thing that's making the idea of OMG servicing Tether transactions so that there's any kind of appeal to it. And so this is on CoinDesk.com. Decentralized finance frenzy drives Ethereum transaction fees to all-time highs. And this is on August 13th, 2020 at 1:21 UTC. So a little bit old, but I'm sure it's still applicable. And this is by Zach Vole and William Foxley. The average fee per transaction on Ethereum... dude, Foxley, I hate you. I hate you for one reason. You do bullet points. If you're going to fucking write an article, just write an article. Don't give me fucking bullet points with links to other articles. I don't want to read 6 fucking articles. I want to read one article. Anyway, continuing on. The average fee per transaction on Ethereum reached $6.04 Wednesday night, according to Blockchair, the highest fees since 2015. Median transaction fees, which have stayed just below historic highs of $3.03, sit at $3. Fees hovered below $1 until mid-July, when transaction fees started to soar. Fee increases coincide with surging activity on popular decentralized financial protocols like Uniswap. At least 3 similar decentralized financial applications are included on a list of protocols with the highest level of network utilization, curated by Etherscan. While Ethereum developers have toyed with numerous technical options to reduce fees by scaling the network's transaction capacity, a possible fix remains months away. Maybe if there's a block size limit on Ethereum's blocks, even a theoretical one or an implicit one, maybe they should abandon that. So yeah, that's one of the things that limits the transaction capacity on a network is the size of the blocks that can be processed by it. But yeah, so that was just a little bit of it, but I've got more here. I'm trying to find it. That's one that we may come back and cover. And no, not gold corrections. Although that is something to be expected. You know, people go into things like gold and whatnot to shield themselves from fiat volatility and loss of fiat monetary value. But they don't stay there. They just keep it there while it's a little hedge. And when it no longer can operate as a hedge, that's when people move to other places. Alright. So I got this thing here. It's on Medium. And this is one I didn't really want to get into, but it's... oh, wait a minute. I had something else here. Yeah. We'll get back to that one. But this one is actually relatively recent, and it's something that I wanted to get into earlier. This is on decrypt.co. Devs release fix for Ethereum 2.0's crashed testnet. Prismatic Labs has released an update to fix a bug that brought down Ethereum 2.0's testnet last week. And this is by Scott Chippeline, and it was authored on August 17th, 2020. Prismatic Labs has put out a fix for Ethereum 2.0's Medalla testnet after a bug on August 14th brought the testnet to its knees. The Medalla testnet is a public network designed to implement Ethereum's 2.0 proof-of-stake blockchain network upgrade. Just last week, the testnet had 26,000 people keeping the network running, with more than 830,000 testnet Ethereum in play. But a simple bug crashed the network in just a few hours. How did the testnet crash? The problem started when a third-party kit stopped working properly. On Friday, Cloudflare Roughime, a public measure of time developed by Google, was off by about 4 hours. Cloudflare is a third-party web infrastructure provider that Prism relies on and uses to adjust users' clocks if they are skewed. The bug caused havoc with the network's internal time clocks, Different parts of the network were showing time lags of up to 4 hours. The network's validators, participants who run nodes to propose and validate blocks, began incorrectly proposing future blocks. Not only that, but they could no longer process blocks properly or receive rewards and transaction fees. As a result, the number of people on the testnet who were successfully validating blocks dropped significantly from 75% to nearly 5%. Another aspect was that Prism's nodes did not have a proper fallback in place in the event of the rough time servers going down. How are developers fixing the problem? Prismatic Labs initially made a few fixes before later publishing an upgrade, which includes a bug fix. The Prism team developed Alpha 22, which is the main bug fix for the Medalla testnet. It's designed to provide, quote, initial sync improvements that may assist in resolving ongoing sync issues on the Medalla test network. We need all the help that we can get to get the testnet back on track, and updating your nodes is a great way to add more healthy peers to the network, the Prismatic Labs announced via Twitter. Van Loon, Ethereum protocol developer and co-founder of Prismatic Labs, also underlined the importance of using a testnet in order to find these kinds of bugs, and to do so before the network goes live. Yeah, it's probably a good idea. But yeah, so apparently there was an issue, and they were not able to launch. Or they were able to launch, but they weren't able to maintain it. Let me see if I can find more on this really quick. Testnet 26,000. Cloudflare dropped significantly. Alpha 22, there we go. And so I guess this is on GitHub. And it's by Prismatic Labs. And I'm waiting for it to load. Just taking its sweet time about it. Here we go. V1.0.0, and this is, I guess, Prismatic Labs Prism. Alpha 0.22. Preston Vanaloon released this 3 days ago. 22 commits to the master since the release. This release includes initial sync improvements that may assist resolving ongoing sync issues with the Medalla test network. And let's see, a whole bunch of people signed it. And so, yeah. And, I think that these are the kinds of issues that we're going to continue to see with cryptocurrencies. That, people aren't fully auditing their code, and so bugs are getting caught. But fortunately, they're doing it via the testnet. They're testing it, testing a live implementation of it before just switching it. Providing the code and saying, "Hey, just go for it, man." If you lose money, too fucking bad. But that's how cryptocurrencies run, though. I mean, the average cryptocurrency is not one that was perfect at any time during its live period. I mean, I'm pretty sure that any network that's worth a shit has been attacked, either by malicious actors or people just trying to implement upgrades. But it's one of the things that makes the development side of cryptocurrencies go as slowly as it does, is that we're talking about people's money here. We're talking about people's investment that has to exist, otherwise the network doesn't exist. Yeah. But like I said, I think that it's going to be issues like, these bugs causing people to lose billions of dollars that is going to be the driving force that pushes more people to participate in mining, validating, and all that other bullshit. And that's really where the strength of these currencies comes from. So that's one of the reasons why I look at second layer quote-unquote solutions as nothing but bullshit. Because they disincentivize other people, additional people coming into the space. If the transaction fees aren't going up, but the amount of money that's being transacted and the amount of economic activity that's being enabled with those transactions is increasing, it is going to increase the incentive to attack these currencies and networks. And that, again, that's one of those things that doesn't change in the second layer. You can have adversarial actors in the in the second layer. Anyway, let's go and throw back down with some music. And as far as where to go next, I think a little bit of Metallica is in order. Blackened, here on CoinMetal. If I can get it to start. There we go. Here we go. And that was Powerman 5000 with Bombshell. And it is with that I'd like to close out this episode. Thank you very much for listening. I certainly do appreciate the support. We will be back again on Friday at 8 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. And so until then, I want y'all to trade safe. Do your homework. And watch out for your own bunghole, because nobody else is going to do it for you. And so as far as our last dance is concerned, I happen to have one actually picked out. End of Sanity by Prong, here on CoinMetal. Thank you again for listening, and y'all have an excellent evening. Good night.